morning, Abby. It's Monday, and welcome back to the Monster High reread, where we reread Monster High by Lacey Harrison and try to invoke quarantine nostalgia. Yay. But before we get to the reading, we're gonna do, plot twist, something stupid. So, about 2 weeks ago, I found this sitting under my bed. It is Monster High Scary Cherry Lip Gloss. And, I don't know when I acquired this, so this could be like 2 years old, or it could be like 10. And so now, for nostalgia's sake, I'm going to put it on my face and hope that I don't have to go to a hospital. Alright, let's just, I don't have any more introduction, let's just do the thing. Alright, rolls open, like normal lip gloss. Oh, I should note that I have no idea how to apply makeup, so I wouldn't even know how to apply normal lip gloss, so this is gonna be an adventure, children. Oh, it made like a gross sound when it was coming out. Alright, we've got like a foamy brush type applicator, I guess. It's coming across as orange on the camera, but like I promise you it is actually like this, it is like a red scary cherry color. So, let's put it on our face, I guess. How does one do this? Okay. Okay. Is it on my face? I can't even tell. I can't tell if it's on my face, guys. I think it is. Because I can tell my lip is like a little tinted, but like it's not the full amount of scariness or cherryness that I was expecting. It does have a cherry taste to it though. And you know, that's always fun. Okay, well, I can feel it on my face. It doesn't really make that much of a color change, though. Actually, no. It's you know what? The color's there. We accept it. It's trying its best, so it does its job as a lip gloss. Honestly, it's not that bad. Okay. It's not that bad, and I don't feel like I'm going to, die, so that's always a positive. So, hair, please do not get stuck in my lip gloss, and then we are going to have an entirely different predicament on our hands. Unless I suddenly feel like I need to go to the hospital, I'm just gonna leave this on my face for the video, and we're just gonna, like, do it. When we last left off, we met Frankie very briefly when she was like barely conscious, and then we learned some more about Melody's backstory, how she had like the camel hump nose and everything. And so this next chapter is from Frankie's POV, and it is titled Chapter 2, Life's a Stitch. If I remember correctly, every single one of these chapters has like a stupid pun in it, so have fun, guys. I just realized that I don't know how to remove this. Do you just, like, can you just, like, do it on, like, toilet paper? Because I don't have, like, actual makeup remover. And I low-key don't want to have to go down to my mom and be like, hey, can you help me out? I put 5-year-old lip gloss on my face for a freaking YouTube video. As a joke. The sun was finally up. Robins and sparrows were chirping their usual morning playlists. Oh no. Oh no, honey. Outside Frankie's frosted bedroom window, kids on bikes began ringing their bells and circling the Radcliffe Way cul-de-sac. The neighborhood was awake. She could finally blast Lady Gaga. If that isn't such a mood. Fun fact, this book was actually the reason why I got into Lady Gaga. Because a running theme for this is that Frankie really likes Lady Gaga's music. Partly just because it slaps, and also because Gaga is all about, like, accepting people as they are, and also, Gaga's fans call themselves little monsters, so, you know, puns. And I remember just being like, I don't know any of these songs besides, like, Poker Face, so then I looked up all the songs that are listed in here, and I was like, you know what? Lady Gaga slaps, so I'm gonna listen to more of her music, and here we are now. Frankie is listening to The Fame, the song, not the album, and, she describes how she wants to get up and dance to it, but she can't because she's getting, like, a flow of electricity charge in her right now, and if she interrupts it, it could cause memory loss, fainting spells, or even a coma. And then she also tells us that, like, her iPod doesn't need to be charged, because as long as it's near Frankie, it's just instantly electrified. So I guess that would be a perk of being a hybrid monster, low-key a freak of nature girl. He is looking at fashion magazines and wondering how the models, like, manage to, like, function without, like, neck bolts. So, yeah, Frankie's very naive. That's something you're going to notice about her right away. Frankie has nicknamed her electrical amp Carmen Electra. I know that's a reference to something, but I don't know what, so if y'all in the comments want to enlighten me. Frankie has 5 pet laboratory rats, and she calls them the glitterati, I don't know how to pronounce it, but either way, it sounds like she's part of the Illuminati, let's be honest here. Frankie has made it her personal mission to turn her room, aka her dad's lab, into a fab. Because puns. And so she, like, has vanilla candles everywhere all the way. Oh, yeah, I remember this now. The rats are called the glitterati. Or glitterat. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, they're called that because Frankie has poured, like, glitter all over them. I hope it's non-toxic glitter, or else those rats are gonna be dead. He stores lip gloss and hair accessories in his beakers. That's not scientifically safe. And glued Justin Bieber's face to the skeleton, because how voltage is that poster where he's sitting on the skateboard? Oh my god, this book was written when Justin Bieber was still relevant. Frankie starts physically describing her parents. Her mom is apparently, like, super pretty, and she describes her dad as having more of an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing going on, as if his chiseled features had been I can't speak. As if his chiseled features had been stretched to cover his square head. Because he's Frankenstein. Do you get it, guys? Do you get it? He has a square head because he's Frankenstein. One thing I find weird is that in the narration, both Frankie and Melody refer to their parents by just their first names, which seems really weird. Like, in their dialogue, they call them, like, Mom and Dad, but then in the narration, they call them Beau and Glory and Viv and Victor and Viveka. But one cute thing we did get out of it is that there's a sentence where she calls them Viv and Vic, and, like, that's adorable. I don't care who you are. Her parents are like, hey, we want to talk to you, honey, and they're in, like, that, like, parent tone where you're like, uh-oh, either I did something wrong, or there's gonna be a weird conversation happening. And then Frankie says, she was silently fearing that her parents had seen her latest charges from iTunes. So, low-key, the entire first part of the book is just Frankie spending all of her parents' money on, like, teenage girl stuff. And I don't know how I feel about it, because I get that Frankie is, like, young and naive, and her parents are probably just trying to indulge her because she's new. She's probably only I think she's literally only been alive for, like, 15 days, so I get that she's new, they want to indulge her in the world, but, like, it does... I am a person who has always had to think a little bit about the things I ask my parents to buy me, not to get too personal here, but to me, it always bugs me when protagonists do that, because that's just a luxury that I have never been able to have, and to me, I know some people use that as, like, a escapist fantasy of, like, getting to buy whatever you want, but to me, it just makes me feel bad for Victor and Viveka. She has this nervous tic where she likes to, like, tug on her stitches, mostly the ones on her neck, and, you know, that seems like a good idea. Nothing's ever possibly gonna go wrong with that, right, guys? What's up, Frankie asked, smiling and trying not to sound as if she hadn't just spent $59.99 for a season pass of Gossip Girl. I know a lot of people like their Gossip Girl, and they've been addicted to that show, but did they seriously get away with charging that much just for one season? What the frackety frickin' what? Change is in the air. Victor rubbed his hands together. No more credit cards? Frankie speculated with dread. Oh my god. Another nervous tick of Frankie's that recurs a lot and becomes important is that, like, when she gets nervous, the bolts on her neck, like, spark and stuff. Generally, like, whenever she is nervous or excited or anxious or really just anything that would evoke, like, a physical response in our bodies, Frankie, like, feels electricity flowing through her, and most of the time it comes out through her neck bolts or, like, her fingers. She talks about how she's super anxious about disappointing her parents because they're the only people she knows in the world, so if she disappoints them, she is literally disappointing her entire world. So that's not stressful. Victor took a deep breath, then exhaled as he made his announcement. The summer is over. Your mother and I have to go back to teaching science and anatomy at the university. We can't homeschool you anymore. He jiggled his ankle restlessly. Huh? Frankie knit her perfectly sculpted eyebrows. What can this possibly have to do with shopping? Frankie, not everything in the world is about shopping, oh my god. Becca explains to us that Frankie has been alive she's been alive for 15 days, and on each of those days, her dad implanted a year's worth of knowledge into her brain. And then her mom's like, you have it all! It's lovely! We were able to create you, and you're beautiful! Frankie nodded her head, wondering when the shopping part was coming. So, now that you're a beautiful, smart teenage girl, you're ready for normie school. What's normie? Frankie asked, fearing the answer. Is that some kind of rehab program for shopaholics? He's like, what's a normie? So then her mom picks up, like, an issue of a magazine she has, and she points to the ad, and Frankie knows that they all have curly hair. So Frankie's like, am I a normie? Viveka shook her head from side to side. Why? Because my hair is straight? Frankie, have you not noticed the fact that you have green skin and bolts growing out of your neck? But then again, she's only been alive for 15 days, and she hasn't been allowed to see the outside world during them. So, to her, it probably is just normal that her parents have, like, normal colored skin while she has green skin. She probably just thinks that's the most normal thing in the world. Victor explains that Frankie is not a normie because he literally built her with his own hands. And yet, Frankie does look at her hands and be like, oh, they're green. And she's like, yeah, isn't that cool? And Victor says, it is. That's why you're so special. No other student at your new school was made like that. Just you. You mean the school will have other people in it? She's so naive. I love her, but I don't know. Because, like, it's justified that she's so naive, but also it's kind of annoying. But also, I kind of love her because Frankie is baby. She is totally down with going to high school and seeing, like, other people. She's like, I don't care. I can survive on my own. And then she says voltage, but it's written out in special text, and it's all big, so that's how you know that it's important, kiddos. The end of the chapter, so then we move on to chapter 3, which is a melody chapter, and it's titled You've Got Mail, except it's like the gender mail, not like the email mail. So, you know, it's a pun. Melody and her family have finally arrived at their new house in Salem, and Bo decides that his first thing he does at his new property should be beeping his horn repeatedly, so, you know, it's good to have my suspicions that Bo is an asshole confirmed by the story. We get some narration from Melody where she's like, I'm kind of afraid of the unknown, but I'm also hopeful that I can have, like, a new start at the school and I won't get bullied or treated superficially, and she's also kind of excited about it. That's enough honking, dear. It's early. Glory swatted her husband playfully. The neighbors are going to think we're lunatics. Yeah, Dad, stop, Candace moaned, her head still resting on her metallic toy burst bag. You're waking the only cool person in Salem. Bo unclipped his seatbelt and turned to face his daughter. And who might that be? Me. Melody mentions that their new house is on Radcliffe Way, and if you remember, that was where Frankie said that her house was, so Melody and Frankie are living in the new Frankie and Melody are living in the same neighborhood, basically. Melody hugs her father and says, like, sorry under her breath, and it's never exactly clarified what she's saying sorry for. I would assume it's probably for, like, sorry for forcing you to move to an entire new neighborhood and all that. And then her dad says, for what? This is great. The Carvers needed a change. We had LA dialed. It's time for a new challenge. Living is all about, I wish I was dead, Candace screamed from inside the SUV. There goes the only cool person in Salem, Beau mumbled under his breath. Okay, Beau's an a-hole. He got humor. Lori opened the door, the car door, that is. The tip of her fur-lined hiking booty lowered tentatively over the pavement as if testing the temperature of a bath. Bitch, your shoe is going to be just fine. First one upstairs gets the big room, she shouted, and then charged toward the house. Her toothpick legs moved at an impressive clip, unencumbered by the Speedo tightness of her fashionably torn skinny jeans. As a human being who has worn skinny jeans, I don't believe. Gloria mentions that in order to get Candace to shut up, she had to bribe her with one of her outfits, so, you know. Great parenting. Runs after Candace, not because she wants the big room, but just because, like, she can run again after so many years of labor breathing. She does notice that it is, like, a lot nicer to breathe in Oregon, so, you know, we've got some things are looking up for Melody. Melody describes her house as being, like, made of, like, a Lincoln log-esque material. Basically, the entire thing's made out of wood, except for, like, the fireplace and stuff. Melody had to admire her parents. They were certainly committed to this new outdoor lifestyle thing. They bought a wood house in a town. I don't know how big the town of Salem is, but I mean, it's got a bunch of monsters living in it, so it's gotta be at least somewhat big. And, like, this ain't outdoor living. I'm swearing so much in this episode. I'm sorry. A tinted sliding glass door opened onto a narrow lap pool that was enclosed by an 8-foot-high Lincoln log wall. They have a pool in their house. This is not outdoor living. The indoor pool must have sealed the deal for Beau, who swam every morning to burn off the calories his nightly swim might have missed. What kind of extra help? Candace called from upstairs. Huh? Melody called back, peeking at the sunken living room and its view of the wooded ravine outside. I'm dying. Really? Do you really think she's dying, Melody? We're in chapter 3. Do you really think your sister is going to die in chapter 3 of the book? You think your extremely sarcastic older sister is being truthful when she says that she's dying? Although, honestly, if Candace could just die in the 3rd chapter of the book, that would actually be amazing. Melody bounded up the wooden staircase in the middle of the cabin. She loved the way the uneven wood slabs felt beneath her black Converse high tops. Each one had its own unique personality. It wasn't a celebration of symmetry, cohesion, and perfection like Beverly Hills. It was the exact opposite. Every log in the house had its own patterns and nicks. Each was unique. None was perfect. Yet they all fit together and supported a single vision. Maybe it was a regional thing. Okay, I get that, like, metaphors have to be used in writing, but Melody, this is a little extra, girl. Melody gets to the top of the stairs, and Candace is complaining because it's hot upstairs, and she's wearing nothing but a black bra and jeans, and then Melody has, like, a hoodie with her, and she's like, put this on, and then Candace is like, our windows are limo tinted, it's not like anyone can see inside, and then Melody's like, how about the movers who are walking around our house? And then Candace just, like, doesn't respond to that. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if it's Candace being a bad character or if it's, like, bad writing and low-key slut-shaming. I'm not entirely sure, because Candace is, like, that girl who goes on a lot of dates throughout the book, so is this supposed to imply that she is just fine with, like, a bunch of, like, 30 and 40-year-old men looking at her body? Because no normal teenage girl would be okay with that. Just saying. On one of her bedroom walls, there are deep scratches that looked like claw marks. So, you know, that's not suspicious at all. Wow, I just noticed that, like, the lip gloss here is not on the lip. Sorry, guys. As I said, I'm not a makeup person. I did the best that I could looking at my phone reflection with freaking Monster High lip gloss. The temperature in the room must have been close to 500 degrees. A real estate listing would call it cozy if the agent wasn't afraid to lie. I don't think they're afraid to lie, just saying. Candace's bedroom, and it had an alcove for a desk, 3 deep closets, and an expansive tinted window overlooking Radcliffe Way. They could have shared it and still had room for Candace's ego. top quality roast Melody. Out Candace's window, and there's like a shirtless boy there, because of course there is. This is a teen novel. There always has to be just a shirtless boy conveniently around for the protagonist to see. He was watering the yellow roses in front of a white cottage, wielding the hose like a sword. Lean back muscles undulated every time he thrust forward to joust. I'm sorry, that is extremely extra. I would not be into a dude if he was frickin' sword fighting with his own flowers. Candace reveals that basically the whole, like, stunt in the car was literally just an act so that she could get her mother's jumpsuit off of her. And Melody's like, so all of that was an act? And Candace is like, pretty much. I'll make friends and meet guys wherever. Candace is the queen of extra, guys. Opens her window and then yells, hey, hot stuff out of it, but then ducks below so that it looks like Melody said it. And then once Candace gets a look at him, she's like, nah, Melody, you can have him. And Melody's like, I'm sorry, did I ask? He wanted to shout, I don't need you to tell me who I can and can't have. But there was a shirtless boy with black framed glasses and a mop of brown hair staring at her. All she could do was stare back and wonder what color his eyes were. That is not what I would... No one in this book thinks like a normal human being, guys. I don't. I can't believe you did that to me, Melody whisper shouted. Well, it's not like you were going to do anything, Candace insisted. Why would I? I don't even know him. So, I'm tired of people thinking that I'm a freak. I know you can't relate to that. Get over it already, will ya? Calm your shit, Candace. Not everyone has white privilege like you do. Candace makes a joke about, like, come on, Melody, don't you ever want to kiss anyone ever. And then Melody starts, crying, and she says she hated that Candace thought she had never made out with a boy. But how could she convince a 17-year-old with more dates than a fruitcake, great metaphor, that Randy the Starbucks cashier, aka Scarbucks because of his acne scars, was a great kisser? Poor Randy the Starbucks cashier. I imagine he had a hard life. Melody tries to explain that, like, being pretty isn't her dream, it's Candace's. And then Candace is like, so live my dream for a while. And then Melody tries to explain that, like, her pretty is fake, so it doesn't feel real. And so she says, how would you feel if you got an A on a test that you copied off someone? Melody asked, trying another tactic. Depends, Candace said. Did I get caught? Candace is like, come on, Melody, we're gonna go outside and do teenage girl things. And then Melody's like, okay, I guess. And then the chapter ends. 4. Mint condition. Because Frankie's skin is green. And, like, the green peppermints, I don't know what their name, wintergreen mints? It's a pun, okay? She gets to go to school and make friends and meet boys and stuff. And then, hold on a minute, Victor interrupted, serious as science. That we love metaphors in this household. It's not that simple. You're right, Frankie bolted toward her sky blue wardrobe, the one tagged skirts and dresses in fuchsia spray paint. What am I going to wear? Frankie's priorities throughout this entire novel are fantastic. Oh, also, I should note, like, this is my genuine reaction to things. I didn't, like, read ahead. If I say something like, this is how this X happens throughout the entire novel, that's just me going off what I remember. And I don't know when the last time I read these books was. I don't think I've read them since I've been in high school. So it's been at least 3 years, and I've read them multiple times, so I remember some things, like the important stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten as well. Her parents are like, you're gonna wear this, and then Frankie gets all excited because, her parents bought her a first day of school outfit. That's so cute. She unzipped the bag and reached inside. Ouch! She pulled her hand out of the bag as though it had teeth. What was that? She asked, still reeling from brushing up against the coarse object inside. It's a sharp wool pantsuit. Wow, Victor, you really know, what teenage girls like to wear. Wait, correction, Viveka actually said that line, so wow, good job, Viveka, you really know what teenage girls like to wear. Sharp is right, Frankie countered. It feels like a cheese grater. It's darling, try it on, says Viveka. Aw, she may be a Frankenstein mom, but she's still a mom. Frankie is trying to, like, shake the outfit out of the bag because she doesn't want to actually touch it. And then, like, a makeup palette pops up, and then her dad, like, grabs, like, a makeup remover sponge and he scrubs his arm. And, oh, plot twist, he has green skin, too, and so does Rebecca. And Frankie's like, why do you choose to hide your green skin? I don't understand. And then Victor's like, because normies are here, and, they don't like us. We are part of a very special group descended from what normies call monsters, Rebecca explained. But we like to prefer... I can't read today. This is a bad day to do a reread vlog. But we like to refer to ourselves as RADs. Regular Attribute Dodgers, Victor clarified. What kind of outrageous acronyms? Like, Regular Attribute Dodgers? What? So, like... they're, like, in, like, the womb getting made or whatever, and then, like, normal chromosomes come floating to them, and they're like, yeet! Like, what does that mean? What does that name mean? I'm pretty sure this just happened because the author was like, oh, so I can be woke, I should have, like, a PC version of the monster name. And then she was like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if they were called RADs? But then I can't think of an acronym to fill out RAD, so we're gonna go with Regular Attribute Dodgers, because that's a good name. Victor explains that there was a time when normies and monsters actually lived together, and it was cool, and everything was great, equal rights. But in the 20s and 30s, all that changed. Horror movies took off. RADs were being cast to star in all kinds of films, like Dracula, Was Phantom of the Opera made in the... I know the book was written in, like, the 1880s, but was the first, film adaptation actually made in the 20s? I actually have no idea. And the monsters who couldn't act, like your grandpa Vic, Viveka teased. Yes, like dear old Victor Frankenstein. Oh, I should note, Frankie's dad, Victor, his name is spelled with a K, but then her, like, grandfather, Victor, is spelled with a C, if you care at all. Anyway, back to Dad Victor. Yes, like dear old Victor Frankenstein. He chuckled, recalling a memory. He had a problem memorizing his lines, and, truth be told, he was quite stiff. Do you get it, guys? So he was portrayed by a normie actor named Boris Karloff. Wait, so some of the monsters are some of the actors from, like, the old Universal horror movies did exist in this universe, but then some of them didn't, because, like, he says that, he points out Dracula as a specific example of one that had an RAD in it, so in their universe, does, Bela Lugosi just not exist? Like, I don't understand? Also, back to Phantom of the Opera, were they, like, recurringly casting the Phantom of the Opera for, like, the many different musical theater adaptations? Like, how does any of this work? What is happening? It was all good times when the movie was being made, but then the movies got released, and they portrayed them as horrifying, evil, blood-sucking enemies of the people, and then, like, children were screaming in terror when they saw them, the parents stopped inviting them over, no one would do business with them, and basically the RADs all became, like, extremely outcasted just overnight because of frickin' monster movies. So thanks, Universal Studios. The RADs tried to protest, but they would just turn into frenzied autograph sessions for fearless horror fans, and any action stronger than a protest would have made us look like the angry beasts the normies feared we were. A secret alert was sent out to all the RADs, urging them to leave their homes and businesses and meet up in Salem, where the witches lived. The hope was that the witches would identify with our struggles and take us in. Together we could form a new community and start fresh. But didn't the Salem witch trials get rid of all the witches in, like, 1692, and wasn't this the 1930s, Frankie asked? Victor clapped his hands once and then pointed at his daughter like an effusive game show host. That's right! Not only were the witches long gone, but he got the wrong Salem. He was thinking of Salem, Massachusetts, but he gave the coordinates for Salem, Oregon. So the entire reason that the monsters live where they do is because of one complete effing idiot. The RIDs didn't really have a choice at that point. They were like, well, I guess we're moving to Oregon. They pooled their money, disguised themselves as normies, built Radcliffe Way, and vowed to protect one another. The hope is that someday we'll be able to live openly again, but until that time comes, it's crucial that we blend in. Being discovered would force us into exile again. Our homes, careers, and lifestyles would be destroyed. And they tell Frankie that that is why she needs to cover her bolts and seams and make her skin not green. "Where are your bolts and seams?" Frankie asked. Viveka lifted her black scarf and winked. 2 shiny bolts winked back. Victor unzipped the high collar on his tracksuit, revealing his hardware. "Can you not put it like that?" Also, I love that Frankie just completely didn't question that, like, her parents had, like, normal skin, but then they decided to build her with green skin. She's just like, yeah, this is completely normal, right? Her parents leave the room and they're like, hey, you need to, like, practice putting on your makeup and covering your bolts and seams so that we don't get run out of town. And then as soon as they leave, Frankie goes into teen rebellion mode. Frankie flexed her toes and kicked away the unsightly pile of wool clothing as if it were a dead squirrel. No one was wearing wool pantsuits this season, she thought, as the itchy offenders skittered out of her line of vision. Real quick, because Frankie has gotten all of her knowledge about being a teenage girl from, like, fashion magazines, I really worry that she's going to have a lot of unrealistic body and appearance standards. To my knowledge, that's actually not addressed in the series, but you'd think they would want to address this, right? Because this book is pretty woke, so, like, you'd think they would want to address, like, the impact that basing all of her knowledge off of fashion magazines would have on Frankie. Like, maybe Frankie is super worried that she's not skinny enough, when in reality she's, like, a normal freaking human. But I know they're just not gonna go that deep with the story. Okay then, Lacey Harrison, you do you. Just to be certain, she consulted Teen Vogue's Back to School issue. As she had suspected, this year was all about light fabrics, jewel tones, and animal prints. Scarves and chunky jewelry were the must-have accessories. Wool was so out it didn't even make the outlist. Can someone who knows something about 2010 fashion confirm if any of this is correct? The articles were extremely eye-opening, not just in Teen Vogue, but in 17 and Cosmo Girl as well. They were all about being yourself, staying natural, loving your body as is, and going green. Frankie, that is not what go green means, first of all. Second of all, I feel like a lot of fashion actually, I don't know a lot about fashion, so I shouldn't be the one making controversial statements about it, but, I think it could be argued by someone who has more knowledge of it than me that fashion in certain it's about being the yourself that they want you to be, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. I'm not a fashion person, guys. This book is gonna be hard for me to get through, because a lot of it is Frankie talking about fashion, and Candace talking about fashion. Frankie, like, looks at her body, and she's like, you know, I'm happy with having green skin and bolts and seams, and so if the normies read the fashion magazines, then they should be okay with me just being myself, right? But, of course, that's not how it's gonna work, because humans are afraid of things that we don't understand. And that is where I am going to end it today. This book isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it still definitely has some, questionable aspects to it. Also, this lip gloss, I mean, I don't feel like I need to go to a hospital, so I guess it works just fine. And, like, once again, I'm not a makeup person, so I have no reference for how lip gloss is supposed to feel, but, like, it's kind of, like, weird and greasy and just not a fun thing for me to have on my face. And considering that people, like, voluntarily wear lip gloss, I'm assuming that there's probably much better lip gloss out there that doesn't feel like that. So take my uninformed review for what it is, an uninformed review. But I will be back next week to continue our dive into the world of Monster High. And Abby, I will see you on Friday.